It's like, that kind of stuff is not really acceptable.
Yes, yes, yes. It is the Castworthy Podcast. We are back at you. I am Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed, on the Twitter machine, joined today by EJ, the Sophisticated Savage, and VP. We are back in full force for the first time in about a month. You get the trio, the threesome, pause, the tri level
Hey, yo.
goatness. Here
You
it's
said throat
or
goatness?
goatness. I don't know, whatever.
You
It's
said throat goatness?
goatness.
Throat
Goat.
goatness?
Oh no, that's you. You and your single moms.
Ah!
It's Sunday, May 23rd, and EJ is fresh off of a night of fuckery. We're gonna hear a lot about that. Lots to unpack today, man. NBA playoffs are coming, or actually rather NBA playoffs are here. So we're gonna get into that. Uh we will get into some of what Kwame Brown is saying out there, putting these people on notice. See how you guys feel about that. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Regular banter, pon the head top. But first, I want to see how you guys have been this last few days, this last week. How you guys been doing, man? Anything change since being fully vaxxed? I know you just got your second one last week, right, EJ?
Actually, it was Thursday.
Oh, Thursday this week. You're not even
Yeah,
two
this
weeks
Thursday.
out, and you already out there smashing randos.
It takes 2 weeks to
Lord,
get the full immunity. 2 weeks for the full immunity.
allegedly.
I've been immune B.
Oh man, VP, what's up with you, man? You've been out in these streets. Vaccine is clearly working because you've been healthy, right?
Actually, nah, man. It's man,
Look at his face.
this last 2 weeks has been bad, man. We had a lot of fucking problems in this family. So I done been to the emergency room twice. I have a
Sheesh.
family member who had a medical emergency
Damn.
and is now fucked up. And let me just say this to you guys and then to the listeners. If you are prescribed the medication for something, you need to take that shit as prescribed because the doctor's giving it to you because something's wrong that your body's not doing itself and you need some help. And it's that reason that this family member is messed up now. And it's gonna require a transplant of an organ to
Oh
fix the
shit.
issue. So yeah, man. So like I said, if you guys are on meds, take your fucking meds as prescribed because you're on the shit for a reason. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, that shit sucks, man. I'm glad that you're better, that you made it out of the emergency room multiple times. Hopefully you won't have to deal with that moving forward. But in and out of the emergency room and not catching COVID, that's a positive.
Yeah, I mean, I was nervous when I went. I mean, I had already been vaccinated. I was way past my 2 weeks, so I wasn't necessarily worried about myself or my wife because we both, were vaccinated. Um, but you just never know. But they made everybody you had to wear masks in the
Yeah.
hospital still. Um, all the staff were wearing masks before they put you in the room. They go in and clean it and everything like that. But it was like I said, it was still kind of nervous, man. Like you hear somebody coughing, you kind of like,
Yo, you can't
Right.
you can't sneeze,
Dog,
you
I
can't
got
have
some,
yeah.
allergies, nothing,
bro.
bro.
I got some stories for these last couple of
And
days, man. I'm about to
when
spaz.
you know, you go to the hospital, they check you in, they do your blood pressure and you know, take your temperature, all that shit like that. And so they did the blood pressure, and the nurse was like, I need you to pull your mask down so I can do your temperature. And I was like, do we have to do it?
Hey yo,
It's like, I don't want to take my fucking mask off.
He was like, can't you get it the old baby way?
yeah. All right.
Oh, there's another hole for you back there, Doc.
Hey yo.
So, but yeah, man. So it was a crazy last 2 weeks, man. But you know, we got to keep on keeping on. You know.
Yeah, for sure. How about you, EJ?
Man,
Did you get sick at all after your you
yeah.
know,
Yep.
okay.
I did. I felt worse than I did when I had COVID.
Did you get diarrhea?
Yeah. Yep. That headache. The night of, I was burning up. Had to take some Tylenol, man, and I didn't really start feeling better until yesterday, honestly. So it was like, I guess, the full 48 hours or whatever. Had
You got
Moderna.
Pfizer or Moderna?
Moderna. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That same thing happened to my sister-in-law. She had the one who had COVID twice.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she got the Moderna vaccine, she got the second shot, and she was like, she felt like she had COVID again. She was like, this shit was terrible.
I felt worse than I had when I had COVID the first time.
Yeah.
Like, bruh, I was cool. Like, other than, you know, no taste, no smell, runny nose, little chills here and there, I was straight for the week. Like, I was down a week, but I was straight. Like, I didn't feel bad. Like, the shot after effects, I was like, nah, bruh. It was not cool.
Yeah.
Nah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Nah, I was up till like 3 a.m. just, I mean, I'm usually up that late anyway, but I was up till like 3 a.m. just because I started getting hot. I was like, yo, and it was cold. It was cold that night. So I was outside, like, damn near shirtless, like, watching people walk by with hoodies on, like, damn, is it me? I was like, nah, I gotta take some Tylenol. This is crazy.
They're like, let's cross the street. That guy's high.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
certainly.
Especially in Baltimore. Oh my god, you wandered over here. It's a big one,
bro. I'm trying to tell you. I was like, yo, it was like 60 something, and I was outside, like, yo, it was hot as shit inside. I was like, God damn. Yeah, so I'm here now, though. I'm back.
Yeah. Good. I've been good. I've been out in Florida. You know, Florida is Florida, and dumbass fucking governor says no masks. CDC says, oh, you motherfuckers can go out in public without masks if you're vaccinated. You know, fully vaccinated people can go do whatever, whenever, you know, eat ass, whatever, right? So here I am out.
Eating ass?
No, just out. Eating Chipotle. And I walk into Chipotle, right? And I think that's the first place I went after all this shit, right? And I'm, you know, I don't trust nothing. I don't trust nobody. I'm skeptical as fuck. So I feel like the CDC saying, well, if you have your vaccine, you don't need to wear a mask, right? Indoors or outdoors. That makes me feel like the million people that got their vaccines who are responsible are still going to wear the masks. And the billions who didn't get it are going to be like, aha, how will they ever know? Right? Mm-hmm. So here I am in Chipotle. I walk in and I'm like, all right, I'm going to order. Because usually I order ahead and just go pick it up, snatch it off the shelf, which, by the way, ideas. You could just grab somebody else's food and not pay. But anyway.
All you got to do is read the receipt and see what they got.
All you got to do is act like you're reading the receipt. Pick up the bag like, oh yeah, that's mine. And then just walk out. These niggas ain't checking. Yeah. So anyway, I'm standing in line and I'm looking around. It's pretty packed. Most people got masks on. There's a few people trickle here with no mask. And I'm like, these motherfuckers ain't got no mask. And then I thought about it. I'm like, oh shit, that's right. You don't got to wear masks anymore. So there's one dude in the line. He's about 3 people ahead of me. And he just looks like type of motherfucker that he's waiting for somebody to say, hey, you should put your mask on. So I'm like, oh boy, I hope nobody says that. Anyway, he gets to the front of the line. He starts ordering. And lo and behold, as he's ordering to the girl standing right in front of all the food, I mean, glass up there, but still, he fucking coughs. He fucking coughs. So he coughs, and I'm looking around like, did anybody else see that? And motherfuckers is just acting like nothing happened. I'm like, I turned around, this dude behind me with a mask on. I'm like, you ain't see that? And so I end up leaving anyway. I left. I was like, man, fuck this. I'm leaving. I'm not
Yeah.
niggas spreading germs. And then where did I go after that? Costco. I went to Costco. Oh, forget it. So I left there. Was like, fuck it. I'm gonna just make a Costco run, pick up some shit, and I'll get some chicken wings from them or whatever. So I end up getting there, and as I'm walking through Costco, like maybe every third person had a mask on, and I was like, oh my god, this is just not normal. Like it felt so abnormal to be in public like that and see people's whole faces and shit. Um, I get it. Like I understand where we are right now. It's just tough that, again, it's me being skeptical and I have trust issues. I don't trust nobody, especially, anti-vaxxers and shit. Because, like I said, my big thing is you're gonna have those people that are gonna be like, oh good, I don't gotta wear a mask anymore. And people are just gonna assume that I have it. Hey, honey, let's go in. We don't need to wear a mask. And here's the shit. Both of these stores still have signs on their doors that say mask required. Chipotle and Costco. Now Costco did come out and say recently that they're not gonna require them anymore. But the day I walked to that motherfucker, there was a sign. And probably 30% of maybe 70% of the population had no masks on in there. So getting back to normal, man, I guess it's gonna be an adjustment period because we've been living a certain way for a year.
Well, and the thing for you and for both of you guys really is that even though you're both vaccinated and don't necessarily have to wear a mask in public, not so much EJ yet because he's not past his 2 weeks, is that you guys have young kids who are not eligible to be vaccinated at this point. And from what docs like Fauci and the rest say on TV is that while your chances of getting COVID are super low if you've been vaccinated, if you do happen to catch it, it's very likely that you'll carry it asymptomatically. You won't feel sick, and you have kids at home who can't be vaccinated, both of you guys, and you could end up passing that shit along. So it's probably best to continue wearing the mask for now anyway, until they start moving the vaccine ages down. And if you guys decide to
Oh no. I mean, I've been pretty much operating the same like throughout this whole thing. In areas where you can have masks and where you can't, I've been kind of cautious. And when I got sick the first time, I was kind of upset because no one really kept the kids away from me. So it was scary, man. But I don't know. At this point, all you can hope is that if you get it, the symptoms aren't severe, for anybody. That's the only thing anybody can hope for at this point. Like the kids, my ex-wife's mom, she's like in the hospital severely from COVID, and it hasn't been looking good. It's been, up and
She's
down,
still
and
there?
yeah, I mean, she was good at one point, and then it took a turn, and right now we're just hoping that she gets better, man. But it's been rough. So, and just lost one of my older cousins. She had a lot of health complications, but yeah, I mean, all we can do right now as a people, man, is just be vigilant as possible, be careful, and just hope for the best, man.
Yep.
VP, before you got frozen there, you seeing something?
Nah, I was just, the only point I was just making is just that, people who are vaccinated can still catch COVID. It's just that, you're likely to not get super sick like people did normally. And, as a result, people with kids who are younger than the vaccine, the allowable ages, you probably still need to wear a mask, when you go out, just because you don't want to fuck around and catch it and then bring it home to your kid who can't be vaccinated,
Right. Yeah, that's the biggest piece. Honestly, that as you mentioned, that's my biggest piece. Like as I'm sitting here wondering, like, and I'm dirty staring motherfuckers. They can't tell I'm dirty staring because all they can see is from here up. But um, you know, that's what I'm thinking. Like, bitch, I may be vaccinated, but my kid ain't. But it is what it is, man. We will eventually get back to some more normalcy, and it'll feel more normal. I
Mhm.
it's going to take probably through the summer, maybe even longer. I think holiday time is when we're really gonna, if we haven't adjusted, or people who haven't adjusted are really gonna either struggle or really get adjusted, because stores are probably going to start to pack up a little bit again around holiday time. And you know that's just what we're gonna see. So, but yeah, man, good to be vaccinated. Good to have a little bit less stress when it comes to that. And rest in peace to your cousin EJ. And I've been fortunate enough. I mean, I don't have a family, close knit family, so pretty good. Pretty good, man. Haven't had
You're a
to
jerk.
haven't had to deal with that. I have very small bond with our family, so we're good to go. And the ones that we do, they're fairly healthy.
Yeah, true.
But yeah. So this week we also heard that, or we heard that Paul Mooney passed away. So definitely want to send thoughts and condolences to his family, right? His friends and fans. Uh, Us being that, right? We're fans of Paul Mooney. We respect the hell out of his career. We understand the type of legend he was. We know how much writing he did. Um, on the front, we knew what we saw, but motherfuckers don't realize how much backside pause he had. Like he wrote for just about anything you can think of. Um, in the interest of showing our respect for him, I'm gonna go ahead and just run a little quick clip, and then we'll get back to it and we'll talk about how we feel about it.
My white neighbor told me a joke, and then I'm finished. And I laughed so hard about her sister, who's a white woman, who baked the chocolate cake for her little white son. And she turned her back, and the little white son put chocolate on his face. Said, "Look, Mommy, I'm black." And she slapped him. She said, "Don't you ever say that in this house. Go tell your dad what you said." She said, "Look, Daddy, I'm black." And the daddy slapped him. "Don't you ever say that. You go tell your grandfather what you said." "Look, Grandpa, I'm black." And Grandpa slapped him. "Go back to your mother." And the mother sat him down and said, "Timmy, now what have you learned today?" And Timmy said, "I've learned I've been black for 5 minutes, and already I hate you white people."
Yeah, man. So rest in peace, Paul Mooney. Imagine being black for 30, 40 years.
Brilliant.
Never mind. Paul Mooney, man. Rest in peace to him, man. What do you think? AJ, you had a chance to see him, didn't you? At the comedy club?
No, I didn't see Paul Mooney. I saw
Oh,
Dick
you saw Dick
Gregory.
Gregory.
Yeah,
Pause.
but both of them from that ilk of raw, unfiltered comedy. Racially charged comedy. Paul Mooney, as in his latter part of his career, some of his stand up, some of his stuff, like on some of the later Shaq specials and stuff like that. It sometimes was hit or miss, but very brilliant, man. Very brilliant comic. Just an icon, man. Just an icon. And lived a good life. Very influential to the culture, and you'll be sorely missed in the comedy community. Not that I'm in it, but I would imagine that they feel that way. And I know Dave Chappelle spoke on him, I think being like his greatest or something like that. So yeah, definitely rest in peace to him.
Yeah, man, definitely agree with that, man. That dude is definitely a legend who wrote for people like Richard Pryor, man. A lot of people didn't get exposure to Paul Mooney until the Chappelle show. Um, you know, so shout out to him for even for doing that, man. But it's sad that he went, but this dude was super impactful in the world of comedy. Even though he was funny about it, like he kept it real on the racial shit. That's one thing I loved about him. Like always, like bringing that to the front, even if it was from a comedic point of view. Like he always let people know, like this shit is real out here for us. I love that about that dude, man.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, he wrote for a lot of people. Richard Pryor, he did a lot of work for Richard Pryor. I was just looking back to do a little bit of, research throughout the week and then just now also, and just seeing some of the stuff that he wrote on. And I mean, for Richard Pryor, and then of course the Chappelle Show being so large for him, and being what was the outbreak for Chappelle, right? That just shows you how much of a comedic mastermind Paul Mooney was, to be able to kind of catapult this man's career from the Chappelle that we knew, who was, funny, funny, funny to me, funny to EJ, funny to white people. Um, and then just kind of he just became became in that Rushmore conversation for some people, based off of a lot of stuff that came from Paul Mooney's writing. Not taking any credit from Chappelle, obviously, and Chappelle gives him his flowers, but yeah, man, Paul Mooney's gonna be missed. Lots of stuff that he said that nobody else wanted to say. Everyone in the room's thinking it, but he said. I'm pretty sure he's the one that coined the phrase. Um, Everybody wants to be black until it's time to be black, or something along those lines.
Mhm.
And that people don't understand how powerful that is. We got so many people, culture vulture in our culture, just the black culture in general, until it's time, right? Until you get treated like one of us. And until the reality sets in. I mean, and we saw that in 2020, right? With people on the front lines and marching, and showing their support for George Floyd and everybody else, and all the 30 other people that were victims of police brutality and killings and so on, standing on the front line, and they're I'm not saying they wanted to be us, right? They were supporting us, but they didn't understand what it was to be us until that, right? And I think people don't understand, like, that's what he's saying. Like, it looks great, it looks fun, because yeah, we got mega swag. Like, anything we do turns into a fucking, a fad, right? Whatever we do, right? It's rare that you see a fad that was started by another culture. Not saying that it doesn't, but it's rare. Um, and everybody adopts to it. But when it's time to be black, right, is where people disappear, man. So,
I think
but
you
yeah,
brought up a good point though, and to my point was never that Chappelle wasn't just funny to white people. I was saying that, like Faison Love said, a lot of his comedy was directed towards white people early on in his career with Half Baked. Like you and I, like that's one of my favorite movies all time. But if you like, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you talk to most black people, they don't name that as one of their classic black films, right? Um, but I think around the time he started getting with Mooney, you could see his comedy become more racially driven. And so, I think that was a very impactful uh, meeting or link in his career. Because if you
exactly.
just look at the trajectory of his comedy, it became more racially driven once he got with Paul Mooney. So that guy did his thing, man. Definitely, probably deserved more flowers than what he was given. But you know, here we are.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I actually, the research department just sent over something uh in regards to what I was speaking of. And it's a little clip here. It's about 45 seconds, give or take. So
Look at that. The research department doing research.
go figure. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? Shit.
Yes, indeed.
Let me know if you could see that.
Yep.
All right.
Where is he from? White people walk like that? Why is that? No, that's too much for me. White people walk like that because we have style, we got flavor, we got rhythm. I mean, black man in America is the most copied man on this planet, bar none. Everybody want to be a nigga, but nobody want to be a nigga. How about that question? The Colonel's a nigga now. The Colonel's a nigga now. He didn't know so much chicken. He's a nigga now. Cal Channon just admitted she was a nigga. The rest of them need to break down and admit it too.
Man, look how uncomfortable.
Mhm.
How uncomfortable you got to make people
Yeah, man.
for them to feel comfortable, right? You got to make
Yep.
them feel uncomfortable for them to feel comfortable, so they know. Paul Mooney, man, message pon message, to people, man. He's a hell of an individual. I hope they always say they never really miss you till you're dead or you're gone. You don't get your flowers till it's too late. I for me, one personally, I'll definitely go back and look at some of his stuff, and I hope a lot of others do, and I hope a lot of these networks take the opportunity to share, what he brought to comedy and what he meant to us as people. That's what I'm hoping comes from his passing, obviously. And just we need a documentary of some sort. We need a documentary. I'd like to see more stuff like that, right? Stuff like that from behind the scenes that isn't on the front street. I'm sure he probably had, you know, tons and tons of stuff. Just a genius, man. So rest in peace, Paul Mooney, for sure.
Yeah, I hope they do that as well, Steve. Like I mentioned on here before, when we had a segment talking about comedy on how I felt about George Carlin. I had actually never seen his stand up, and then after he died, HBO started running some of his stand ups, and it was like one like a
Funny.
lazy. It was like a lazy Saturday, you know what I mean? Nothing was on. Let me check this out, and I'm like, yo, this dude is funny as shit, yo.
Funny.
So hopefully the networks do something like that where they start airing, some of his stuff to show people, who this dude really was.
Indeed, indeed. You guys been following the Kwame Brown saga that started, I guess, with Stephen A. Smith is constantly killing him. I think everybody constantly kills Kwame Brown. He was just somebody that you expected to be excellent, great. He was a first round overall, number one pick overall, drafted by excuse me, by Jordan, right? And there's no bigger accolade than having 90% of basketball fans go draft you, right? And think that you're the one, that you're some way somehow you're the next one. And he just underperformed throughout his career, and so he gets killed for it constantly. uh More so than a lot of others, like a Greg Oden. Obviously, they make they make excuses for him, injury, shit like that. Shit, football players. We had Ryan Leaf. You know, like there's just so many people that were busts, and truly, Kwame Brown, while was a bust, still did okay in circumstances, right? Situationally, he did his job. It just wasn't the job that people expected of him. He was there, got his 6-6, right? Maybe 8-6. You know, and got some fouls, things like that. But I guess he just had enough. He just had enough of being the butt of the internet jokes, and he's been just putting motherfuckers on Front Street. So, have you guys been keeping up with it? I know he took a shot at Stephen A. Smith. He went pretty hard at Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson and Gilbert Arenas because they have their podcast Up in Smoke. Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, they had Arenas on there, and they were having a conversation. And Steven Jackson, being just typical smartass that he is, was like being funny and just saying, oh, Matt Barnes was talking about how great Kwame was, and he was joking and shit, and it just turned into, and Matt Barnes really seemed like he was oblivious, like, nah, nigga, I ain't saying nothing about it. I never said that, and I think he hit his boiling point, and Kwame decided he came out of woodwork and just started laying haymakers, man, dropping shit, saying, this dude's a bum, this dude's a bum, this dude is, a plant, by the white people. And he's just going off, man. And he had people like Gilbert Arenas backpedaling. Gilbert
Yeah. Gilbert
try
said he ain't want no smoke in the beginning. He said, I
yeah,
ain't say nothing about you, big fella. Gilbert
yeah.
Gilbert let it be known. He said, yo, I seen this dude and his brother take on like 20 bouncers. I don't want no smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He said he didn't go to the club unless Kwame was with him.
Yo, that's kind of what Charlemagne was talking about. Charlemagne from Breakfast Club, when they were talking about it on Breakfast Club, Charlemagne was saying that Kwame Brown's people is like from where he's from in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, this dude dad is in prison on a murder, his brother is in prison on a murder. And he was like, sometimes motherfuckers just snap. He was like, y'all better leave Kwame alone, because you never
Yeah.
know. You know what I mean?
Listen, man, Kwame Brown, he laid it out perfectly for me though when he said, look, I got drafted by Jordan, but they never wanted me. I was a trade piece. So they drafted me thinking that they were going to trade me somewhere else for Elton Brand. It didn't go through. So essentially, they didn't want me. So now you got the GOAT, who is the ultimate asshole to all his teammates, Hall of Famers or not, right? Then you have the coach who's an asshole, didn't want me. You know what I mean? So he was set up to fail. And he lasted 13 years, but his issue too, which I totally understood, was when it came to Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, when they were talking to Jeannie Buss and how they were going out their way to, basically talk trash about him. He like, look, y'all my boys. Y'all supposed to be my boys. Like, you come from this fraternity of men. You're not supposed to belittle someone from your fraternity publicly and to somebody who didn't play the game. And he like, yo, like, I know y'all personally, so why would you do that? So I felt like his return fire on them was fully justified. And he's been going in, what I mean? Even when he was talking about Jamel Hill, he didn't understand her comment, but he was like, look, yo, don't speak my name. Like, he's just putting people on notice, like letting them know, like, and you know what I think maybe stands out most about that in today's culture? We're used to so many people being able to say so many things about whatever and nobody saying something about it. This is kind of like a throwback to how things used to be before the internet. Like, if you said something about somebody was going to check you. You know what I mean? And this is like one of the first times in a long time that I can remember, if at all, where somebody on this level of celebrity status, or whatever level you want to say it is like, you can't just talk about me. I'm not gonna let you just talk about me. It's pretty counter the usual narrative.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
digging up skeletons, man. He dug up Charlemagne's skeleton about the old 15-year-old buying her drinks and alleged rape
Rape. Mm.
that he had of her. I mean, granted, it was a long time ago, but still, he was an adult. She was a child, you know. Um, so he's out, man. He's like, man, fuck it. He's out swinging, throwing haymakers at everybody, for sure. He called Matt Barnes Becky with the good hair.
Man posted pictures of Derek Fisher kissing his ex, and I was like, yo, this dude is a savage. He
Nigga
said,
told
yo,
Matt Barnes, bring him some gas money for picking your kids up, dog.
yo,
Like, yo.
yo, son said, yo, you're not supposed to be letting dudes take your woman. You over here trying to be tough, smoking weed, playing cards all the time. You supposed to be taking other people's women. I said, yo, this dude is going ham.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Matt, that whole thing with Kwame kind of reminded me of I remember I said this to you guys a while ago, and I was like, sometimes when you go at it with New Yorkers, like y'all doing the dozens or whatever, and you like, You're like, oh, your jeans wrinkled, and they're like, your mom's a whore. You're like, the fuck? It's like that shit just escalated like real quick.
quickly.
Crazy.
I'll tell you,
That's funny.
if you ever been to like, if you ever stood in line at a club in New York, you see just how fucking vicious that shit could be. Like chicks walking by and niggas is like, "Hey, shorty, how you doing?" And if she ignore, oh, forget about it. Forget.
Oh my God. Yeah, you bringing back some memories on that one, yo.
Right?
You bringing
Get
back
you, you
some
dirty
memories.
bitch.
It's toxic. It's horrible, man. But yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they get to it, man. They get to it. Um, but yeah, Kwame Brown, man, he's crazy. He's crazy. Right on the cusp of the NBA playoffs, we get that kind of thing, and then we come into we're coming into the playoffs. Just started yesterday. Steph Curry being in MVP talks was out in front of the Lakers. Pretty good. They had a good lead. Really had that game in the bag. LeBron James hit a big shot with a minute left and lifted the Lakers to pass them, right? And then they went on and they lost to Memphis. John Morant did the same thing, very similar. And so Golden State's out, but we saw round one started yesterday. Your Miami Heat.
Well, Steve, before you go to round one, what did y'all think of the play in?
The playing.
Yeah.
I personally, I actually liked it. I liked the extra piece to it. I thought it was a bad idea on paper. And going into it, I thought it was a bad idea. But seeing how seeing those, what was it, 4 days? Right? It was 4 days because whatever, however much time passed in between. It was good to see just those were highlighted games, right? And obviously, you know what the reason for it was, right? It's money, right? Because you got no NBA, and you're getting one game, and people are thirsty already for the playoffs, and now you're getting to see it. And it just so happened, this year that it worked out great because you had, Golden State with a superstar and the Lakers with a bunch of stars that were fighting to get in, and you had a young Grizzlies team with John Morant fighting to get in. You're getting to see star on star in like an NFL playoff type of thing, right? One and done. So for me, I thought it was pretty good, man. You got to see, you got to come out, you got to tighten the laces, and have your best game of the season, or else your season's over. It was like a game 7, so that it was good, man. I liked it.
I still kind of feel the way I felt about it. As far as the regular season goes, I still think it's unfair to the people in those 7th and 8th slots that been playing all year round. But it's the NBA's attempt to try to get the NFL feel, right? Because those were the only times where you could be one or essentially 2 games and done. So they're trying to capture that in that NFL feel, because the NFL is the only place where you're one and done, no matter what seed you are. If you lose, you're done. So, but I did enjoy watching the extra basketball. It was cool. I thought that Steph Curry kind of choked, and because he's Steph Curry, I don't think basketball or the media is going to kill him like they would any other superstar. But against that in that Lakers game, he had some open shots down the stretch that he missed. A couple joints close, and he didn't close, and it looked like he got tired. And all of those players, the supporting players, disappeared, and that loss to me was on Curry and Curry. But they're not going to get the criticism for it. But yeah, shout out to Memphis for doing what they did and advancing, and here we are.
You hate light skinned people.
See,
He put up 39 in that game. Pretty sure.
true.
And I think he did get tired. To your point, I think he got tired at the end. It was evident. But I mean, after the season that he's had, I mean, dude, average. He was a scoring leader. Wasn't getting production out of Wiggins, Wasn't getting production out. Actually, Oubre didn't even play in the playing games. That was a big miss for them. And Draymond just being Draymond. Draymond was actually not even the good Draymond that you saw this year, where he was, getting double-digit assists and shit like that. He looked like shit in the play-ins. How'd you like it, VP?
I mean, I had the same thoughts as you guys. Like Steve said, on paper, I didn't like the idea of it. To EJ's point, when we first talked about it, when EJ presented it to us, with the whole, you grind out, you're in the eighth spot, and then next thing you know, you're playing for your life, basically. Even though you're already in the eighth spot based on regular season standings. I didn't like that aspect of it, and I think the NBA lucked out this first time around, with having a banged up Lakers team, being that low of a seed, having to go against the Warriors. You basically got two league MVPs going against each other in a game that basically felt like a playoff game, one and done NFL style, like you mentioned, Steve. But what's going to happen next year when it's like, Orlando versus the Pistons?
Whoa,
You know what I mean?
watch your mouth.
No, I mean, I'm not trying to throw shade at Orlando. I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? But like, let's say, you got a rebuilding Orlando team, and they get up to that 10th spot, where they normally wouldn't have been in the playoffs. People probably be talking about them next year and things like that, and because to your point, it's for money, right? And people are like, I'm not watching that shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they lucked out this year in having it be the Warriors versus the Lakers. But next year, it could be somebody else, and it's not going to have the desired effect. And so from that, I just think it was a bad idea.
For
But I
me,
did like the games though.
Yeah, quite frankly, for me watching it, it almost made me want to see the NBA go to a tournament style like the NCAA, where you're playing 16 or 8 or 20 teams, right? Because it was basically 20 this year, 10 and 10. But if you brought it down to 16 and did a tournament style type of thing where you're getting the best game out of every player every time, you have to give me your best game every time or you're out of here. And you could see the difference in a LeBron James, when he knew that if he would have lost that game, he would have had one other chance and possibly could have been bounced out of the playoffs. Like, you saw his intensity turn up in the fourth quarter, which we've seen in game sevens from him regularly, right? But if every game in the playoffs is a game 7, how much better and how much more entertaining would the playoffs be for the NBA? To me personally,
Nah, you make a fantastic point, Steve. I mean, and I mean, just think back. You were talking about Jordan earlier. Think back to that era when the first 2 rounds was 5-game series, and the NBA said we want more money, so we're going to make it a 7-game series now. And so that's why I don't think they would do something like that. But I think they definitely would get a lot out of these players if you knew, basically, like you said, every game was a game 7. Or if you still wanted to be a series, go back to the 5-game format and then make the conference finals the 7-game series as well as the finals itself. And that could maybe load up or not load up, but bring up the intensity.
Yeah. Before we get into the true playoff talk, who's you guys MVP and why?
For the year, see, MVP in the NBA to me is always weird because I don't know what we're really basing it on. Is it most valuable player to the team? Is it most valuable player to the league? If we're gonna say by both of those, I would have to say it would be Steph Curry, his team, and he was most valuable to the league and just everything that he does and brings to the league. Unfortunately, he's out the playoffs now, but yeah, I don't know, man. I would have to say you got Steph will probably get it. Yeah, I'll probably say Steph is going to get it.
Now I have to agree with Steph as well, but the problem is that with the voters, that EJ's point about not making the playoffs, that's going to be a factor. And I always think about, and I'm biased, so I'll call it out up front, but I always think about the 2009 MVP race when you had D Wade got screwed when they voted for LeBron, and D Wade was a better player in every facet that season over LeBron, and they gave it to LeBron because Wade didn't make the playoffs, even though he was amazing that year. You know, I mean, if we're going just based on pure um, numbers, it's like when they talk about Jordan, they say, man, Jordan could have been the MVP every season he played, you know, but they're not going to do that, right? Russell Westbrook is averaging a fucking triple double. He's not even in the conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you know, so it's hard. Like to EJ's point, it depends on what you're basing it on. You know what I mean?
I think the MVP goalpost constantly gets moved. You know, and it's turned into the MPP, most popular player to me, right? Um, I agree with you guys that Steph Curry could get it. And I could see a case for him. And I have him as a 1B in my book, but my 1A is Jokic. They'll never give. I mean, since Shaq, we haven't seen a center get MVP. And it's so hard for centers to get MVP and big men in general, right? But Jokic has been so valuable to that team. I mean, to the point where they brought in talent and he had to play harder. They made a trade with Orlando and brought in Aaron Gordon, who was supposed to help him out. And Jokic had to play harder to keep those guys going. Then Jamal Murray went down, you know, after that trade, and they had just traded his backup point guard, Gary Harris, to Orlando, right? Then you had I forget the other dude. They had their small forward went down. I always forget his name. You know, luckily for Jokic though, he had Michael Porter who stepped up and did some stuff this year. But if you pull, and when I look at MVP, I've always said it, even through the years of LeBron and like that year that you always mention, and we always talk about it. D Wade definitely deserved it that year. His next best player on the team was fucking Udonis Haslam, you know, and he made them a 6th seed, I think that year. I'm almost sure of it, and I think they won first round potentially. Don't quote me on that part, but I think of the most valuable player to the team when I talk about MVP, especially in the NBA. If you take this person away from that team, what team is going to be the trashiest, right? We've seen LeBron come from Cleveland, they went to the bottom. We've seen LeBron leave the Heat and they dropped. They didn't go to the bottom, but they dropped, right? We've seen LeBron go back to Cleveland and bring them right back up and then leave and they go right back to the bottom. So we see his impact to a team. Granted, he's had other pieces and cogs, but if you pull out Steph Curry and you still have a good Wiggins, a good Oubre, the days that Steph sat out, when you had those guys, they were still decent and could have won. Jokic, I don't think he missed a game this year. That's one. And two, if that guy is pulled from Denver, I don't even think they make the playoffs, personally. So to me, that's Jokic is my guy. I take him over Embiid because Embiid has Tristan Harris. He has uh,
Tobias
uh,
Harris,
Tobias Harris, and what's the light skinned guard that can't shoot?
Ben Simmons.
Ben
Ben
Simmons.
Simmons.
He's got it who plays
Light
great
skin guard.
defense, right? And I even you know, could say you could make a case for your guy Randall. You know, if you really went down the list, I have Julius Randle probably in my top 6, 5 to 6 this year as MVPs because you pull him away. Granted, RJ Barrett quickly stepped up. You got a lot from your supporting cast, but this guy night in and night out did it for the Knicks. You know, there was no team, I think, as good as the Heat, which is why I can't pull anybody as an MVP from the Heat. From your guys, I think they have probably the best meshing team in the league, and I wish we had gotten a little more out of Doncic. But I also think if Bradley Beal isn't in Washington, then we do see Russell Westbrook in that conversation. But for me, it's Jokic.
You make a hell of a point, man. I had to agree with you. You know, Joker has been dominating and quietly, you know what I mean, not getting the popularity from the masses.
Right.
So I think you're 100% right on that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
no argument
I
for
was
me.
I was digging in my closet, EJ, and I found we had an NBA week at my job this week or this year rather. I'm sorry, and where we wore different teams each day, and I found my Knicks shirt
You
from Knicks
Ewing?
Day. No, it's a it's just a Knicks shirt. I don't even think it has a player on
Uh,
it. It's just a t-shirt. and
Mm-hmm.
I might have to break it out for the play. It's long sleeves, so I might have to cut the sleeves off and break it out for the playoffs, man. I
I'm
might have to
nervous
do
about
it.
today, man. Trey Young, we beat them all year pretty handily. Most the couple two games, one game was close. Trey Young, man, he's coming out with a vengeance. I think they probably feel some kind of way because of all the attention that we getting. Um, but I think Thibodeau will have those guys pretty ready. The garden is going to be damn near full, so the atmosphere is going to be insane. Um, I'm hoping they win this game. I'm happy of the progress because we were slated to only win 10 games this year. So, we'll see, man. I'm glad basketball's back in the garden. I'm gonna be checking it out later on, seeing what's going on. And yeah, you know,
Primetime game too.
yeah.
Yeah, we had good start yesterday. Listen, man,
Yeah.
I think this dude Luca is underappreciated, man. Like that motherfucker is different. He is different. He's just a bigger Russell Westbrook to me. He's a bigger Russell Westbrook that doesn't really dunk. Like he's a triple double machine, not as frequent. Don't get me wrong, but he's a triple double machine. He can do it all. He could pass. He could score. He could rebound. He just makes his team better. On the offensive side, I don't think there's. It's hard to find a flaw in his game. Mid range is good. 3 point is good. He can drive. He can post smaller guards. Um, Luca is underappreciated, and I think if Paul George becomes playoff P as he has been, um, they're going to be in trouble, man. Because while Kawhi is great, I still think Kawhi has an injury he's just scared to get fixed. I think he needs surgery. He's just not getting it fixed. He's taking days off, and so that he's fresh on certain days. But in this playoff run, man, it's going to be important for him to get right because Luca number one is a problem. And that game to me was a good game yesterday. Not nearly as good as your game. That Miami Milwaukee game, I think that might be a series, probably one of the best series that we see um, this year.
Yeah, it was definitely a good game, man. It was that it seems like Giannis was having a problem like first like 7-8 minutes of the game where like he just couldn't get right. He had a couple times in the post where it seems like the scouting report kind of worked against him. He posted up Jimmy Butler and he went to do that spin move he always does. Jimmy Butler kept pulling a chair out from under him and he kept
Mm.
traveling. And then it seems like after a while he kind of got that shit figured out and then we just couldn't stop him, man. Rebounding, fucking scoring. He was just all over the place, man. And our star Jimmy Butler didn't play well yesterday. I think he finished with like 15 or 17 points or something like that. And we lost by 2 in overtime. So it gives me some hopes for this series. I think that we've knocked them out twice before, and I think that we potentially could do it again. From a lower seed, but we can't go down 2-0 though. If we lose game 2, I think it's a problem. But
Y'all been there, y'all been down 2-0 before and still came back, I believe, at one point.
well,
Right?
last season we took it. We beat them in 5. So
Mhm.
so I think I don't. My point is I don't want to go long term and with this team. I would hope that we could get it done in 5 to 6 games, you know, um, but yeah, it was a good game, man. It was a great game. Um, go ahead.
No, no, I already, it was important for me as a Knicks fan for us to get the fourth seed so that we could see Atlanta the first round. Even though I'm very nervous about Atlanta. I definitely did not want to see the Heat. The Heat beat us all year. I mean, in some instances, it wasn't even competitive. So I definitely did not want to see the Heat first round. I would have. I think we could have actually matched up if we had to matched up better with the Bucks. But yeah, man, I think you guys are gonna present a big problem. I think I picked y'all to come out of the East this year. So I hate to say it, but I think I did. So
You
Yeah,
did.
you
You
did.
absolutely did.
You did.
Um, I
pains me.
oops. I, I it's gonna be hard for Giannis, man. I saw a stat yesterday. He was on 14 on shots outside of the restricted area. He's got to do better. He's got to go get into the lab with somebody. Call Ray Allen. Call somebody. Reggie Miller. Call somebody. You got to start hitting that mid range or get a post up, turn around something. Because Jimmy Butler he's given the blueprint on how to slow this guy down. Right? You're gonna come running at me at high speed, or you're gonna try and post me and bump me. I'm gonna just move out the way. You know, and you're gonna be in trouble. And he has a good supporting cast. Middleton, I think, is good. Is he great? Probably not, but he's good. He's gonna do his numbers, and he did numbers yesterday. He had a huge shot, which, by the way, Duncan Robinson played great defense on. It was just an amazing shot. Duncan Robinson was right in his pocket. um and then Jimmy Butler had a chance at a shot, and Duncan Robinson that blocked it? No, no, no.
Middleton.
Middleton blocked
Middleton,
it.
they're in the
Same
same
team.
team.
Yeah. um, but yeah. And to your point, VP, Bam might have been a better option to inbound. You get the extra shooter out there. Maybe something opens up and you get a better opportunity. But it was just like it was forced to Jimmy. And I just need to see, like we said last year, same thing, man. And it's going to be different this year because you're going to have to go on the road. You're going to have to deal with fan noise. He's going to have to show up from quarter one to quarter four. Like, he can't just give you 3 and 4 or 2 and 4. Like Jimmy's going to have to show up for you guys to get as far as you did last year, especially with Philly looking like they're going to be healthy. The Knicks playing a lot better. Boston, they're injured, so they may not hold that weight. But to your point, EJ, that Atlanta Knicks series is going to be interesting. I think the Knicks come out of that. Trae Young has been inconsistent for me. The rest of that team is just really not that good. They've been carried by Bogdanovich most of this year. Um, yeah, so I see the Knicks coming out. I do.
I
Like
hope
I
you're
told
right,
you,
brother.
I want to see Knicks Brooklyn some way somehow.
I hope
Boston
you're
don't
right,
got it.
brother.
Boston don't got it for Brooklyn this series. I'll tell you that.
It was close. I mean, but Tatum not having Jalen Brown, I
Yeah,
think is the biggest factor. I think Jalen Brown was there because that game was close for a minute. You know what I mean? So I would love to see us play Brooklyn. But no matter what Brooklyn ever does, like I was just talking to somebody yesterday, Brooklyn can win the championship. No, they're never gonna be New York's team. Never gonna be New York's team. So I hope they don't win this year. That's all I know for sure.
Yeah, and I wonder if Brooklyn wins this year. I I can't. I don't think they're gonna get that much love from. I mean, besides Nets fans, but from fans in general, even the media. And I think part of it is that as we've seen these super teams, we've seen it with the Heat, we've seen it with the Warriors. You could argue the Cavs with Love and Kyrie, but this team seems beyond that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you got
and they lost one. They
yeah,
lost an Avenger, and they still got a super team.
right. Like this shit, it's like too much. And so I wonder if they win, if people are kind of like, yeah, nothing to see here. We kind of expected that. You know, so I mean, I know, like guys like Harden, will be excited, and for his first championship, all that kind of thing like that. But I don't think they're gonna get much love outside of Brooklyn Nets fans.
The Lakers, excuse me, if the Lakers make it to the finals, and play against Brooklyn, I think that's the only way Brooklyn gets what you're talking about, the media hype and shit, because you're gonna have two sides of the media, right? You're gonna have one side of the media that's gonna be like, "Oh, KD did it again," LeBron's not better than KD. He'll never be. KD is the guy forever. And it's his kryptonite. And then you're gonna have the side that's gonna be like, Oh, but look, they stacked the team. They threw all these people together just to beat
Yeah.
LeBron. Forget that Anthony Davis is there. Forget that they won the championship last year. It was just to beat LeBron.
Forget they barely, because if they'd have lost versus Golden State, might they have lost against Memphis?
Possibly John Morant, man. That kid is something different.
And who's
He's
that big guy again? Not Valanciunas.
Valanciunas.
Valanciunas. He's the one. He's putting in work.
I liked him in Toronto. I liked him a lot in Toronto, and I like him even better this year. He's playing really, really good. They have that other kid, Brooks, and the kid that came, the other yellow boy that came over from San Antonio, Anderson. Is his name Anderson? Kyle Anderson.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think that's his name.
Yeah.
I like that kid too, man. What's wrong?
Here we go.
Well,
We're talking about the Matt shit from pre-production.
Oh.
Kyle Anderson. Yeah, I think that's his name. Yeah, that's him.
yeah. Who you guys got today? So we got the Knicks playing. Actually, before we get to that, VP, who do you have coming out of the East and the West? Me and EJ did that last week.
Oh man.
Go ahead and pick your heat, dog. I picked them for you. So
I think that he come out of the East. I think they repeat for Eastern
Do you
Conference
really
champ.
think that, or are you saying that with your fan heart? Because EJ
No,
said the Knicks with his fan heart, but then said the Heat with his, reality heart.
No, I think that I think if the Heat can get past Milwaukee, I don't really think that there's another team that's in the East that can beat them in a 7-game series.
Gotcha.
Just because of how cohesive they are. The Heat play excellent defense. Even though we're not big, we play, they play hard as fuck. You know what I mean? So I think getting past even as with Philly, looking like they're going to be a great team this year. I don't think they have enough. So I think if the Heat get past Milwaukee, they'll make it to the finals. For the West, I think it's going to be the Lakers, man. I really do.
Did you forget that Brooklyn is in the East?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. I think EJ forgot too. But
no, I didn't. Because playoff Jimmy Butler, man, I just think it's different. You know what I mean? Last year,
playoff Harden is different too. We'll find that out.
yeah, but I think Jimmy
Harden
Butler
is
versus
trash.
Harden is gonna cancel each other out, kind of thing. And the Nets don't play defense.
Yeah, Harden gets worse in the playoffs, and Butler gets better in the playoffs.
That too.
But so let me see. What did James Harden do yesterday? He went 5 for 13, 21, 8 and 9, 21 points, 8 assists, 9 boards. And 4 steals. So he showed up a little bit, but it's the clutch stuff that he tends to not show up. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Today we got Washington opening up series with Philly. The Lakers
1:00
at 1:00. Lakers and Phoenix play at 3:30. Atlanta and the Knicks at 7, and then Memphis and Utah. What 4 you guys got today out of that grouping?
For me, I'm gonna go Sixers. Gonna go Lakers. I got the Knicks, and I'm gonna go. I think the Jazz gets it done.
Same for me.
All right. I'm on board with all of that, except I think Phoenix wins today. I don't know if they win in 7, but I think they win today, opening that series at home. Chris Paul is he's hungry. He's gonna be he's gonna be a difference maker, and if he shows up and can get those guys going, it could be a problem for the Lakers, man. Lakers are just,
oh yeah, Phoenix. Yeah, but who's?
It's all about LeBron's sea legs. Like you could see that he was a little, he was still trying to get back to game speed against Golden State. And And I think this Phoenix series, because Phoenix is good, right? They're not. It's not like they came in at 8 and he's got sea legs, or came in at 1 and he's got sea legs. They're coming in light, playing a high seeded team with a lot of talent, and he's got, he's trying to get his sea legs. So,
Is Schroeder back?
Schroeder's back. Schroeder's back. Kuzma's back.
Let me ask you this though, Steve. Wild card, and I'm not being rhetorical here. Does the league punish LeBron for violating COVID protocols?
They didn't, and they need to. They fucking need to. Pieces of shit. Fucking bullshit ass fucking Adam Silver.
Yo, what was my man who went to the strip club last year?
Lou Williams. But not even that. Homie got kicked out the bubble for letting a broad in his room. This nigga's partying with Drake and Michael B. Jordan, taking pictures, putting on the internet, and Silver's like, well, it's LeBron.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here, man. And now, don't get me wrong. Part of that decision might be because he's fully vaccinated.
Well, we don't know that because he's never publicly disclosed that.
Potentially, right? It might be, right? But if
the
he's
league
not,
probably knows, but we don't.
Well, their justification was that the event wasn't. It was more contained because you had people like Drake and Michael B. Jordan who attended that game. So, you know what I mean? Exactly. So they're saying that because of the event and the security protocols around it, it was less of a super spreader type place. So,
bruh, if that was let me
anybody,
if that was Victor Oladipo, he would have been suspended for the next 10 games. Like, that's just, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. And I guess, going into the playoffs, that would have made a huge difference. But,
shout out to LeBron. He basically told the league, I am the league.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I am the captain now. That's what this nigga said. Shit.
So Adam Silver, I run this. You just live here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I'm putting cases on all you bitches.
Nigga said, I don't write rhymes, I write checks.
Yeah, man. Fucking LeBron, man. You know what? I'm not even mad at that dude, yo. I'm not even mad. So let's get into some other stuff, man. What else is going on?
Yo, we didn't talk about the Joe Budden podcast. Because last time I think we talked about it, touched on it, but with the recent developments, we didn't talk about that.
What's that?
I mean, basically how, things went down, the firing, and then Maul and Rory's response, and then Joe's response. You haven't been following it, huh?
We talked about that.
No, we didn't.
Remember that happened on Saturday, and we bought it on Sunday. Remember,
we were saying when they had came back after that point though. When we initially talked about it,
they did their hour-long joint, right? We talked about them talking about they wanted money and stuff like that. They did that on that Saturday, and we potted it on.
We talked about that at Sunday.
Now, what we didn't talk about is Joe being allegedly
making the girl uncomfortable.
Attached to some, sexual misconduct as the, owner, the runner, the boss of bosses of his network in the midst of all of this.
I mean, his response. Yeah, I mean his response, because he responded to that, and then he responded to Rory and Maul, and I mean Joe at this point, I lost all respect for him because nothing he said justified anything. He was talking about, as the leader, I should have let y'all know what was going on. Like these not just business. It's supposed to be your friends. You know what I mean? Then and then you fired them on air, and then the situation with the girl. He was just like, we need to make that more comfortable environment. We got to do better. I'm hiring more people that know better. I mean, this dude is nasty, man, and he's heading to self-destruction. Like, he's one of those people that constantly can't get out their own way, and he's heading that way.
I'm gonna let y'all niggas know that if we end up millionaires off of this shit, you bet not get mad and fucking decide, oh, I didn't get to say the accounting. Like them niggas, listen, man. Maul, he's related to Biggs, so family money and stuff like that. But allegedly, the amount of money that those dudes were making per episode, man,
But
listen,
that's the thing. They didn't really have it written down. Like
don't
that's
matter,
my thing. Like I
don't
mean,
matter.
any business you're in is just rational and sensible to
EJ,
tell your
if
people
we
what you're getting paid.
if we
You're
pod for a whole year, right?
mm-hmm,
And you pay for some reason, you get a deal, you pay each, you find a way, you pay Vari and I throughout that year, let's just say 2.5 million,
mm-hmm,
right? Throughout the year, over the time.
mm-hmm.
And my question is, this nigga EJ got a driver, he got a cook, he got a huge, way larger house than me. I think this man took 7 million. I promise you, I'm not fucking that shit up of making 2.5 because you made 7. Like,
I'm not, but that's not the point. The point is just out of the blue. They, not out of the blue, but off top. I'm letting you know what you guys are getting. I'm letting you know what's going on because this thing of ours is our thing. The problem is he made it his thing, and then when they're just asking you what it is. They didn't fire themselves. He fired them. He got mad because they asked questions, and he's the one that's always talking about full transparency, full transparency. And those are the last people you were transparent with. He's been on this podcast bashing people for doing the same shit that he did. He sounded nuts.
yeah, I mean, I see it both ways, but I also see that I'm not fucking up a bag
I get that too.
simply because I think somebody else is making more, right? When I'm doing good. Like if let's say you were making 7 million and you gave me and Vari 7,000. Now we talking. Now we talking, right? And it's gonna be more than just us, taking a couple weeks off,
And
it's
we
gonna be
don't know though.
some
That's the thing
beneficial.
at the end of the day. At the end of the day, their biggest argument is we don't know. And then it's like when you look at that podcast and the success it got, like the way, and then on top of it, right, where I think what compounded it more for Maul and Rory is like now we supposed to be boys, and like Maul was saying, he tried to talk about him like he was a bum, and then
That I
like
didn't fuck with. Yeah,
and
that I
and
didn't.
then like Button's response to it all, it was so corny. Like, oh, I'm sorry that if I made it seem this way. Like, nah, yo, you was doing sucker shit. Like, and this and if you followed this podcast the entire time, right? This is shit that they constantly potted on. Like, oh, this is nasty behavior. Oh, you don't do this type of shit. Like, you a fraud. You basically were doing everything that in every episode you said was no good. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it just, and being from that era, it's corny. But like Ja always said, because Ja is from Jersey City as well, and Ja always said, Joe Budden it didn't get a lot of respect in the city. He was always on some sucker shit. So Ja always said that to me.
I mean, he was a fucking crackhead. I mean, for lack of a better word, right? He was
Yeah, yeah,
out there on pills always, like constantly.
both.
He had drug addictions, man. Like,
Yeah,
and now he comes into this, um, and sure, his actions are not warranted in any way, not justifiable at all, right? And I think they have points. I think they both have points though, right? And I think the point that he does have and he can make is, end of day, regardless of whether it's on paper or not, what is on paper is that this shit is my shit. It's in my name, the Joe Budden podcast, the Joe Budden network, right? With that said, I still think you guys are valuable. If you want to be here, be here. But if you stop showing up and there starts to be some negative impact to, the equity and things like that, then decisions have to be made, right? And that's like any other company, and you're going to say, oh, you're management mind, and it is, I do look at it from that standpoint. As a business, it's a business. If they just stop showing up and let's say their viewership goes from 3 million an episode down to even cut in half to 1.5 million per episode, what's the value on that in streams? What's the value on that on the deals that they may be that might be pending? That might be in the works that were like, well, you guys are doing three episodes, so based on you averaging three an episode, this is what this deal is going to look like. Versus now, one of those companies coming back and saying, hey, you had these guys disappear for 6 weeks, and you guys dropped half your listeners for 6 consecutive weeks. I don't
But the
know if I
pro
want to do this
but
deal.
the problem with everything that you're saying, and I agree with it. The problem with everything about it is it all stemmed from Joe Budden. As management, as corporate, you didn't present to me what the terms and duties and salary, and you didn't present the contractual stuff that's obligated of you to me as an employee or as a partner or whatever the case may be. And then now, to your point, right, in viewership, he's now gambled on this podcast and the future success of it, because you got rid of two people that the fans loved most. Now you got Ice and Ish, where I like Ish's take, which I don't even know if he's paying them or what their relationship is, but Ish kind of looks like he's not for the bullshit, because on that episode when they had the response, Ish was kind of like, yeah, Joe, I hear you, but I'm trying to call you on your shit. And he wouldn't let Ish get off. And it's like, Ice just seems like he's going to go with the flow. I think at this point, for that podcast to survive, he might as well just do a 2-man game with Parks, because he don't even
Yeah,
let nobody else talk.
that's I like Ish. I think it really could just be him, Ish, and Parks. Ice is whack. He's corny as fuck. To me, he's just a cornball. He's like the cornball in the hood that just around because maybe his cousin sold drugs or his cousin was the guy that had the guns or some shit. Like he's just so whack. Like he's corny to me. But I like Ish. But yeah, I don't think they're gonna have the success that they would have had or that they did have last year. And I think even more so once Rory and Maul start their podcast. They're gonna lose some viewers to that. But yeah, man. Fucking Joe, man. Fucking Joe. One thing I always I do commend him on, and something that came up to me that I noticed this week, and this is kind of off topic, just random banter, and we do this from time to time.
Mhm.
When I look at Joe Budden, I look at his stories and I hear what he's talking about. Right, he talks about I have kids, I have two boys, I need to do everything I can to leave them the best life they can live once I'm gone. Right, part of the decisions he's making is based on that. Right, you look at his stories, you look at everything he's done with his kids, it's always positive. Right, and I respect that part of him. Getting off of him though, I was at the park this week, right? And I'm there with my son, and we're at the playground, and this dude comes over, looks like he's the Migos, pants halfway off, dreads, of course, it's what these kids are doing nowadays, right?
From VP Hood.
From VP's Hood, Ace Hood. Actually, Ace Hood from Philly. But
I thought he was
anyway,
from Florida.
I think he's from Philly.
No, Ace Hood
He
is from
just fucks with
Florida.
Khaled.
Ace Hood ain't from no goddamn Philly.
Okay. And so this guy and his son, who's probably the kid is probably 5 or 6, right? They get to the playground and me and Ashton are there and shit, and Ashton's going down the slide, and the kid like climbs up these bars and then jumps off, and he's like, "Look how I did it!" Right? And
Mhm.
like his, the dude is like, "Well, yeah, all right, yeah." Like my nigga, what is fathers got to be fathers, man. Like what is going on, man? Like you don't have to be a thug to your kid at all, let alone all the time. Like you don't have to groom your kid to be a gangster and a thug, man. What is up with black fathers, man? We have got to do better. Like, and when I say we, I don't mean me, because I know I'm doing a hell of a job and you guys are doing hella jobs. But you know when I sit outside and I watch that, or I'm at the playgrounds, and that's not the first time I've seen something like that.
Mhm.
These kids just want they want you to say, "Hey, you did a good job. Hey, you couldn't do that last week. Great job climbing those bars." Like, you know, commend him. You don't have to show that you're a thug, all the time.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know, man.
also, Ace Hitters from Florida, by the way.
Deerfield Beach.
He was born in Port St. Lucie and raised in Deerfield Beach.
Oh, Deerfield, right down the street from Philly.
This nigga is ridiculous.
You
I
mean
mean, the thing
Castle?
about the thing about fatherhood, though, Steve, is a lot of brothers weren't raised with fathers, so it's very difficult for people that haven't been raised by fathers to have an understanding what it means to have a loving, positive aspect or relationship of being a father. Um, so that's you're socialized, you're reared to be what you were raised by, and that brother, unfortunately, or those brothers, unfortunately, are misguided, and at the very least, they're there. That is a positive thing, and that's a start. um Hopefully, maybe someone like yourself or someone in their camp that they trust and are close to can maybe show them a better way one day. But I'm understanding to it because I didn't have a father, growing up, present. And you get love from other places, uncles.
Is that why you love single moms?
No, I love them because
Why?
never
Why did
mind,
you love
I'm not gonna say that.
Was it
But
was it the COVID after effects, or did you get an HIV test?
what? What in the hell?
Oh,
But
sorry.
yeah, man. So just I don't know. I think the step. I think the first step is that the brother was there. Let's
These are the
commend.
observations I make when I think of like when I see that, then I think of like our kids just ain't changing, man. Like kids ain't changing. They grow up, they tote guns, they go to jail. You know, they sell drugs. We could have so many more Obamas. We can have so many more fucking. It don't even got to be to that level of the president, man.
But
Just
that's
like
the systemic racism that this country is. I was just watching the History Channel yesterday, and they were talking about the drugs and just another aspect of another documentary of just how long this drug war has been going on, and the tons and tons of drugs that have come in this nation and all of its effects. This society that we have as a people, we have been totally impacted by drugs and crime and systemic things that this country has continued to done to us.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad, man. But part of the issue, Steve, is that guy who's interacting with his kid in that way, he doesn't see anything wrong with himself, and so he probably thinks that the behavior that he's demonstrating is something that his kid should replicate when the kid gets older. And it's how you get these kids at a young age who are acting like that. Um, I remember
Down goes VP. Just when he was getting to the point, just when he was getting to the goods.
right when he was going into a story.
Uh-huh.
Right when he was going into a story. He's gonna come back in. Um
Oh, pause.
I get what you guys are saying, and I understand it. Don't get me wrong.
What?
Go
We
ahead.
didn't hear nothing you said, bro.
You bopped out for a minute.
Yeah, I remember one time we went to SeaWorld, and the whole family was there, and we're trying to go in traffic. You know how when you leave in the theme parks, the traffic is just brutal. And my sister-in-law, she yells out to another driver, something along the lines of like let's go, move that shit or something like that. And then my niece,
Surprise.
my niece, who's at the time is like maybe 6 years old, starts yelling in the window like, "Move that car!" And I'm like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? But kids are sponges, right? And so they see the parents act that way, and so they do it. You know what I mean? And so we as black people, we have to, raise our kids to be better, and it sucks that we're in an age. I have a friend of mine from work who used to joke. He was like, anytime I talk to you, it's like you're one person, and then we get to work, you're like Keith Henning or whatever. And I'm like, my mom raised me that, we have to be different when we're in public, and it's a burden that black people and black men in particular, have to bear. But you can't just be out there acting any kind of fucking way. You know what I mean? And so, this person is probably somebody who wasn't taught those lessons, and so they teach their kid to be, fucking, Ace Hood all the time. You know what I mean?
Yo, y'all shitting on my man Ace Hood, man. Cut it out. Ace Hood is seemingly a good guy, well spoken man. Not terrible. Now that's a great point though. That burden of black people, that duality, number one, in the workplace and then in life in general. And then, like you said, and this is something that is rarely spoke on, it is even stronger for a black male because physically, right? And people will say we got privilege because physically we're bigger and we're faster, we're stronger. Like, bitch, just because I'm big and fast don't mean I'm prone to fight and violence, right? But we have that duality to have to say, oh, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm gonna be a good guy. All these different things, and it is tough. It is very tough. And if you were socialized to believe you got to be hard all the time, that's what and that you're only gonna give your kids what you know.
Unacceptable. I was watching. You guys know I've been watching The Sopranos, right?
Yeah, everything we said is a fuck all that.
I've been watching The Sopranos. You guys know that, and I forgot that Carmela was a whore. Like I forgot she was what's this chick's name? And Tasha. She was Tasha before she was Tasha. Except for she didn't actually sleep with people. But she is attention. She is an attention fucking. She's like your boy, huh? Never mind. She's a seeker, man. I forgot about the whole Furio thing.
Furio.
You about to break your marriage up over some Furio? She just, and then before that, the other one's brother that was putting up the wallpaper, that was supposed to be coming by to put the wallpaper up.
Oh, yeah.
This life that this man has given you, you are so unappreciative.
Yeah, that was Tony stressed the entire goddamn show. Like, yo, you got this great house, this great life. You don't do nothing. All you do is complain.
I forgot to associate it when I was watching Power, man. And
I mean, so I hear what both of you guys are saying, but you're leaving out the big part for anybody who hasn't seen Sopranos, that
she's a woman.
The whole series, Tony's cheating on her.
So what? You're not giving them no cheeks. You got $1 million crib. Yo, she wasn't giving Tony no buns. What else was he gonna do?
That's not the focus of this conversation. What he's doing, two wrongs don't make a right, Mari.
Yeah, you're right. Two wrongs don't make a right. You can't complain and not give him no ass. What's wrong with you?
This man just went and bought you a house by the water, like big ass house by the water, and the very next day, because you heard he slept with Svetlana, you gonna try and break up the marriage. Like, come on, you knew what you was getting into.
That Svetlana shit was foul.
That one leg.
Yeah, you sleep with the chick with the one leg. Like, she's like, come on, dog. Like,
what she got that I don't?
I'm out here risking getting whacked to provide for y'all, and the kid is out. The boy is out of line. The daughter's out of line. The wife complaining. Like, come on, man. This guy Tony, man, real hero. Real American patriot.
Right. She tried to minimize the fact that she stole 40 racks from the man. Took 40 racks and invested it without the man. Listen. Oh, man, listen. Bitch, you better have some. Let's
Oh,
move
and
on.
her flirtation with Artie. Wasn't it? Wasn't she? Didn't she used to flirt with Artie or somebody?
Nah, that was Furio.
No, I know Furio was. I know Furio, but I thought it was
Bitch was
Artie too.
lovesick over fucking Furio. Had a
Nah,
fever and
she
everything.
the only ones I remember was the wallpaper guy that Steve mentioned, Furio, and then when her and Tony were in the separation, she was smashing the principal from the Sun School.
Oh man,
Yeah.
dirty.
What kind of woman does such a thing? Oh man, I tell
Dirty.
you, man, women are scumbags.
Amen to that.
What else is
Oh God.
Except single moms.
what's what's going on the political front, VP? We haven't had any political talk in like shit. I think the last time we talked about anything, Biden got elected.
On the politics side, man, basically they're still, trying to get people vaccinated. Like 2 weeks ago or a week ago, the CDC gave Pfizer to go ahead to start giving the Pfizer vaccine to kids as young as 12 years old. No word on Moderna or Johnson & Johnson for that part. Biden is in the works of trying to get his infrastructure plan through Congress. He's been negotiating with the Republicans, but McConnell has basically said that no Republicans are going to vote for it. So now Chuck Schumer and the Democrats in the Senate have gone ahead and started the process of reconciliation to pass the infrastructure bill with Democrats only, meaning that they don't have to make their own bill worse to get Republican support. So time frame on that is you'll probably see something start to go through the committee process and then passage in the House like around June. It'll move over to the Senate, go through that same process. It'll get passed sometime in late June, maybe July, and then the two bills more than likely will be different. And then they'll bring the bills to be the same and have to vote on them again, probably by August. So sometime in August, we probably should see the somewhere between like 1.8, 1.9 to 2.2 trillion dollars worth of infrastructure spending for the American Jobs Plan is what Biden is calling it. Also, we talked about this. It was the week that EJ actually was out. Matt Gaetz, the congressman from Florida's 1st District, who was being investigated for child sex trafficking. His week didn't go too good this week. It was announced that the feds have entered into a cooperation agreement with his ex-girlfriend. And also the former Seminole County tax collector, who is the person who this investigation started with, has also agreed to plead guilty and help the feds against other people who were involved in this child sex trafficking with him. And one of those people is alleged to be Congressman Gaetz. So this week isn't looking too good for him. So we'll see how that goes. Watch this space. And also this week, Biden signed the anti-discrimination bill for making attacks on people of Asian descent a hate crime. So that was a big push by members of Congress like Tammy Duckworth and Macy Hirono from Hawaii. They got that bill passed, and Biden signed it into law this week. And weekly, EJ probably sees this a lot given his profession, but we continue to see the FBI arresting people who were involved in the January 6th insurrection. That continues to happen weekly. You keep hearing about, 5 here, 4 there. And I don't know if you guys spoke about this the last 2 weeks since I've been out, but one of the people who was recently arrested was a active duty Marine. He was a major in the United States Marine Corps stationed in Quantico, Virginia. And he took part in the insurrection and was arrested about a week and a half ago, I want to say, which just shows you the level of people who were either military, former military, reservists, police officers, and so when we talk about these systemic racism issues, as we tend to do from time to time, you can see how deep this stuff goes in the foundational institutions in this country. So that's kind of what's been going on in the world of politics.
I saw something. I saw two things that maybe you can confirm or whatever the alternatives to that would be. Dismiss maybe. Um, One was there was something that was posted that said Biden is not backing the student loan thing, and the second thing was that he passed some mortgage assistance bill, or is working on some mortgage assistance bill for individuals with less than like 350,000, with a mortgage less than 350,000. Yada yada yada. Let me look it up. Go ahead. You can talk.
As far as the mortgage front, I haven't seen anything on that. The student loan thing that continues to be debated. Biden has said in the past that he believes he has authority to cancel about $10,000 worth of student debt. People like Chuck Schumer and Elizabeth Warren, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ayanna Pressley, and others say that he could and should do more. Biden has asked his Secretary of Education, Miguel Cordona, who's the Secretary of Education, to review this at the Education Department and advise him on whether or not he does have the authority to cancel more than $10,000 worth of student debt. And, in my mind, I've said from the beginning, I think this is one of those things that Biden actually doesn't want to do. He was going to do the 10,000 to throw the progressives a bone. The problem is that the progressive caucus within the Democratic Party has gotten a little stronger in 2020 than it was in 2018, simply because in the 2020 election, or in 2021, I mean to say, than they were back after the 2018 election, is because the Democrats, even though they maintained a majority in the House, they lost seats. The majority that they have in the House is very slim. I think they have I think it's either 4 or 6 seats majority. And so the progressive caucus on the Democratic side, which is some 20, 30 members, it gives them a little bit more power to say things like, well, we're not going to vote for this if we don't get this. They get to, swing their dicks a little bit, And yes, I know some of them are women, for anybody who's going to talk some shit. I'm just saying, but and so I think this is kind of the hang up here, is that they have more power because the majority is so small. They can, when they threaten to not vote for things to move things forward, that threat has to be taken seriously. And the same on the Senate side, with the Democrats having a majority only because they have 50 senators plus the vice president to break ties. So someone like a Bernie Sanders, for example, could say, I'm not voting for that unless I get this, and so I think that's why the student loan thing is going the way that it is so far, where you have Biden, who seemingly is willing to do the 10,000, and they're saying, no, we want more. And they keep trying to look into it because, I think he's going to basically have his hand forced. I don't think it's going to be 50 though. I've never thought that it would be 50. I think you're probably going to try to meet in the middle somewhere, and you may get somewhere between 20 to 30, but I don't think it's going to be 50.
I told you we need 37. 37, we are good. I keep telling y'all the number.
If they can just get $36,683.54, that's a perfect number.
I mean, Americans deserve it. Americans deserve it. Oh shit, man. Yeah, I guess it was something I found it here, but it's a long article, so I'll just forward it to you, and we'll recap it next week. Came out on May 16th. But in searching for it, I also saw that June 30th is the cutoff of the extension that he made for the forbearances and foreclosures and stuff like that. So, we're gonna see a huge change in this economy here. I think coming in the next 60 to 90 days.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they're gonna. I think they're going to extend it again. And don't forget that the administration is in court right now because you had a group of landlords in Florida that sued, saying that the CDC regulation that you couldn't evict people was unconstitutional. The judge agreed with them, and the Biden administration appealed. So the judge stayed that ruling, meaning that they put the ruling on hold pending the appeal. What's going to end up happening is that while they're going through the appeals process, when we probably get to the fall, like around September or so, they'll probably lift these forbearance guidelines and start allowing people to be evicted or foreclosed, etc. And then the court case will just get dropped because it's moot at that point because they've lifted the regulation anyway, and so it will end up not being resolved through the courts. But I don't think they're going to let it expire at the end of June.
Yeah. I don't like to prey on anybody's downfall, but I mean, I want a bigger house. And and the inventory is light and it's extremely overpriced. And let's get these squatters out of here, man. That's the people that need it, but the people that listen, the houses I'm looking at, these people don't need them. They don't need the assistance. They're just
and also, Steve, keep in mind that through some of the things that I watch for my investing media consumption, is that the people who are on forbearance, whether it was for car loans or mortgages, etc., there's some information out there that says that a good bit of these people actually don't need it. They took it just because, and then they've just been saving money like crazy. So even when these moratoriums on eviction and foreclosures and things like that end, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be a bunch of inventory on the market. These people might just come and make a huge, $30,000 payment on their mortgage or something like that, just because it's been in forbearance for a year, because it could, So keep that in mind as well.
And drop it on the principal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good point. Good point there.
Because one of my homies from the that I was in the Marines with, he did that. He has a brand new. Right before all this COVID shit started, he brought a brand new SUV. And when they announced the forbearance thing, he took forbearance on his car payment, and he's working. This dude works full time, and he's 100% disabled through the VA, and so it's not like he don't have the money to make his payments, but for him, he was like, well, fuck it, I don't got to pay it, so I'm not. And then he's just saving the money to the side. And once his forbearance ends, he's going to just make a huge lump sum payment, that first month on the principal.
That's why my taxes are so high. Fucking jeez. The amount of disability, I tell you. They need to... What you guys been watching, man?
A couple movies that I really... Oh, actually, let me start off by saying The Upshaws on Netflix. The Mike Epps and Wanda Sykes. Wanda Sykes actually wrote it with Regina Hicks. But that was a phenomenal series, man. I was cracking up every single episode. Definitely watch it. All black cast. It was phenomenal. I loved it. Then I watched the Angelina Jolie movie on HBO Max. That was decent. Can't remember the title. And I just saw Army of the Dead by Zack Snyder. Yeah, she has a movie out on HBO Max. Those Who Wish Me Dead or something like that. It was decent.
Okay.
It was decent. It wasn't groundbreaking.
Is it like pre-2005 Angelina or post-2005 Angelina?
Like, does she have some meat on them bones?
And like, are we able to see that meat?
Negative. No, negative. No, okay. No. It's a pretty simple plot, and
I'll pass.
It's action though, but it wasn't anything riveting. And then Army of the Dead came out on Netflix the other day. Zack Snyder's most recent standalone zombie movie. I didn't like it. It's trash. completely trash. Zack Snyder ruined it. Not ruined it rather, but it was just trash. I didn't like it at all. Yeah, that was only a couple things that I seen. New
When does Loki start, EJ?
June, I believe.
Looking
Yeah, I
forward to
believe
that.
in June. Yeah.
What you been watching, VP?
Man, I haven't really been watching much, man, since I've been on injured reserve. Um, the only thing I really stayed up on is that show that I told you guys I was watching on
The
HBO, The
Nevers.
Nevers.
Yeah.
They had the season finale. The season finale is a 2-part finale. So part one was last week, and then part two will be tonight. Um, the finale kind of fucked me up because they like the show it went a different direction, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Like, so now, like, I'm really intrigued to see what's gonna happen in season two because, like, from part one of the finale, they like hit me with a big twist that I didn't see coming at all, and so yeah, so they definitely got my attention. So yeah, I'm check
I'll binge watch that.
part two of the finale tonight, and and then I'll be ready for the next season whenever it comes out. That show, man, I was telling Steve in the chat, the episode, I want to say it was like episode 4 because they only have like 8 episodes this first season. I guess HBO was kind of trying to see, if it was going to be a show, but it was like in episode 4. They have this fight scene that takes place with this one character because I told you guys it's kind of sci-fi. So it's this one character who
Yeah, I watched episode 1 a little bit. I got to go back and rewatch it.
Gotcha. But they have this one character who like water can't get on him. So he can't like when it rains, the water kind of goes away from him because he can't be on water. He can walk on water and things like that. And they have this fight scene that takes place on the water, and that shit was so amazing. And what was crazy was that I watched Mortal Kombat Saturday night, and then I watched this show on Sunday. And then at the end, you know how like sometimes at the end of episodes they'll show you like how they made this scene or whatever. And I'm looking at this shit like, yo, this is HBO. Like WB, they got money like HBO. They couldn't make that fucking Mortal Kombat CGI better. Like what the fuck, yo? This shit was terrible, man.
I told you not to watch.
Y'all ain't never gonna let Mortal Kombat down, huh?
I told you.
I think I'm gonna check that out, Vari. I think I'm gonna check the Nevers out.
Yeah.
Upshaw's is good, EJ. I told you that. I like that a lot. And I didn't finish it. I didn't finish the whole season, but I'm kind of happy I didn't because there's nights where I just want to watch something sitcom-y, and that does it for me. You know what I'm saying? Southside, that's the other one on HBO Max that you got to give a shot, EJ. When
Southside. What's that about?
That's the one I was telling you that has they're based in Chicago. It's basically two dudes. They work for like a Rent-A-Center type of company, and it's just like it's like life in Southside Chicago and shit.
Okay.
It's a comedy. I think Rel had a lot to do with it. He's actually in it on one of the episodes. Pretty funny. So far it's been pretty funny. I like it. So I've been watching those two. Obviously, Sopranos, getting through that. Fucking Carmilla. Junior just got off. I'm going to. I need to make a plan to get to the movies. I've realized that I need to make a plan to get to the movies on a weekday, like an early matinee when there's maybe 2-3 people. I am severely missing the movie going experience, and I've been seeing a lot of people saying that they've been going. Mark told me he went last week and saw the State the movie. He said it was pretty good.
Oh yeah, I want to see that.
But I think I want to see the what is it, Spiral? I think I'd like to see that in the theater. And there's something else that popped up on my Regal app yesterday that I really was like, oh, I gotta see that. And I think I'm gonna go see that in the movies. It is In the Heights. In the Heights starts on June 11th.
I thought that comes out on HBO Max too, though.
It might be, but I think I want to see it in.
It's
If
a
I don't
music.
know,
It's a musical though. It's a musical though.
yeah, I know. It's gonna be similar to the one that was on HBO earlier in the
Hamilton.
Hamilton. Yeah. But I do want to. I'm gonna go see. I'll probably see that in the movies. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. I miss the, you know, the oil that they call butter,
Oily popcorn.
holding the
Yes.
bag
Yes,
of
indeed.
popcorn, sitting in a
Yes,
really
indeed.
really cold movie theater. In the dark. I need it. I need it in my life. So I've been slowly kind of getting back into life. Like I've gone into some stores lately, restaurants and shit. And so yeah, went to the beach a couple weeks ago, but still on high alert. Don't fucking cough around me. Don't sneeze around me. Don't even look in my direction after you fucking sneeze. Shit is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I mean, to your point, Steve, I think that like earlier that you were saying, I'm probably going to continue wearing my mask for a
Me too.
while, and then even like once things go back to normal, I'll probably still wear it like in certain settings, like the movie theater and things like
Oh
that.
yeah,
Just so
absolutely,
yeah, I think a mask
absolutely.
that's that's going to be a thing for me going forward. And then also, I mean, during COVID, we saw that the government, the CDC, put out that the cases of flu was way down this year,
Yeah,
and they attribute that to mask wearing. So you know, so
Yeah,
if
and you
not,
also don't. You also don't. You, and you also don't freaking know whether you got COVID or the flu.
right. Or something else,
Motherfuckers
bro.
can't be sick no more. Like
But I
you
think
can't
it's
have
the mask.
allergies, nothing.
It's the mask and just the familiarity of people washing their hands more often.
uh
Before you might, rub your eyes or your nose or your mouth without washing your hands, and you might have touched some shit. Like now, me, I'm in a cadence now. Like I'm in a cadence now to where, like, when I go to work, if I haven't washed my hands, like if I let's say I go in my office or whatever, I don't touch my face or anywhere close to it until I get to the bathroom and wash my hands.
uh
That shit don't even do. Bro, I got four of them shits on my desk, and that's not even enough for me. Like for me to touch my face, nah. Or even like if I'm gonna eat, like if I'm gonna eat dinner at work or whatever, or if I'm gonna, nigga, I don't even open a piece of gum at work until I sanitize or wash my hands. It's just a cadence that I'm in, and it's excessive, but
yep.
if it means staying healthy, it's worth it, and absolutely, I will continue that. But I said that, worst case, if I don't continue with like the full mask joints, I'll get face shields because I still have some face shields, and I'll do that. Worst case, since I'm vaccinated and stuff, and those things, they're clear. So like when I go into Costco and stuff, I'll probably do the face shield and keep the mask like off my mouth until I'm in range of somebody, and then put the mask up. It's just tactics. Tactics. You gonna wear a mask when you go to the office for the first time again,
Cool.
Laurie? You.
I work from home permanently.
Oh, no,
Before that was pre-COVID.
not that office.
Oh,
Oh,
um, I
the
don't know.
office. You know,
I don't know. I don't know.
the, with the lights.
I mean, I
You
don't
know,
know, man. Because it has like its own atmosphere in there. You gotta. It's not just the visual. Sometimes you gotta see it. You know what I mean? These people are putting on these scented lotions. I don't want to be disrespectful and not be able to get the whole aroma. You know
right,
what I mean?
right. And did the CDC say you can get
EJ know what I'm talking about.
he knows. He probably smells it right now. Uh, might have some still under his fingernail. Yeah. Did the
Slander.
CDC say you could get COVID from boob sweat? Or like if I just never mind. Forget it. We'll come back to it. We'll speak on that offline. Um yeah, so all right. What else, man? Anything else you guys had that we need to cover? EJ? No?
Not I.
VP, anything you want to cover?
Nah, I think we got it all.
I think I got most of my shit. I know there was something that I wanted to chat about, but no, I don't think it was anything major. All right, so we are right about just under 2 hours, which is excellent for us. Usually, when there's three of us, we make it to 2.5. You know, long winded.
Don't blame me this time, bro, because you've been going on.
For the last 4 weeks, we've been
You've been going on, my brother.
light these last couple of weeks. I'm just saying we haven't had to chop shit up. What was the difference?
Wow. Feel attacked. Feel attacked. This guy's choosing violence.
All right, man. All right, then at this point, let's go ahead. I'm gonna hand this off to VP. I've been doing my best rendition of your outro for the last few weeks, but I'll give it back to you because you're more you're more empathetic. You got heart and shit like that. So let me hand that off to you.
As always, everybody, we definitely appreciate you guys rocking with us and taking the time to listen to us. A little different this week. I'm going to kind of finish where I started and just say that, if something is wrong and you've been prescribed a medication for some ailment that you have, please take your medication as prescribed. Your body's not doing something it should be doing, which is why your doctor is putting you on this medication. So please take it as prescribed, because if you don't, it could lead to disastrous outcomes, not only for you personally, but also for your family, who has to be there to try to take care of you and help you pull through these situations. So please just take care of yourself. Be a better friend to yourself. Again, thank you guys for rocking with us, for listening to us, for taking the time out to listen to this podcast. Wherever you can find us at, you can search Castworthy, whether it is Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify. We have the YouTube channel, social media, all those platforms. You can check us out at Castworthy. On Instagram, it's at Castworthy_podcast. While you're there, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and follow. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Help us grow this audience. Leave us a comment telling us something you think we should have covered, something we missed, something we could do better. And let's grow this thing. And as always, we definitely appreciate you guys. We love you, and we appreciate you giving us your time to listen. And we will see you on the next episode of the Castworthy Podcast. We're out. Peace.